is very physically strong guy. He's down! Oh, big quick hand. They will meet again. Here we go!
Welcome back, everybody. Eric and Geoff with you again, as always, to break down what's going down in MMA. This time around, we're going to be breaking down UFC 134, which is going down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Saturday, August 27th at the HSBC Arena. We'll be getting our predictions for you in just a moment, but first, here's your news update.
First in your UFC news, Yoshihiro Akiyama was handed his third straight loss by knockout in the first round by the former light heavyweight champion Vitor the Phenom Belfort. After the win, Vitor called for the winner of Anderson Silva vs. Yushin Okami in Rio. Dana White says, chew on the Anderson Silva loss. Former light heavyweight champion Rashad Evans rematched with Tito Ortiz for the main event of UFC 133. Evans finished Tito in the second round by TKO. He is now scheduled to face the winner of Rampage Jackson versus John Jones. And speaking of John Jones versus Rampage Jackson, this will be the first UFC fight in Denver since UFC 1 and UFC 2 dated back in 1993. And now for your UFC Rio predictions, back to Eric and Geoff.
Thank you, Geoff, for that news update. And now, to break down, guys, what's going down at UFC 134. Geoff, what is going down at UFC 134?
Well, as you said before, Eric, this is the first time the UFC is back in Brazil in over 13 years, since 1997. They're going to be fighting at the HSBC Arena in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Anderson the Spider Silva defending his middleweight crown against Yushin Okami. Shogun and Forrest will have a rematch. And Big Nog, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, and Brandon Schaub will have a heavyweight showdown. We're going to give you these three predictions. We're going to start off with Big Nog, who is the former Pride and former UFC heavyweight champion, fighting Brandon Schaub, who's coming off of his win to Mirko Cro Cop, trying to climb up the ladder of the heavyweight division. How do you see this going down?
You know, on this one, what I really see taking place is, Nogueira is a legend in the sport. The only thing is he has been out for 15 months. Very long time. Also, he's coming off a hip and 2 knee surgeries. So I actually think that's going to be a really big deal as well in this one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Schaub's good. I really think if Nogueira were 100%, I'd be giving it to Nogueira. But unfortunately, with his long layoff, having the octagon rush and everything, I think Schaub's going to win this one. Keep it standing probably, and probably win by 3-round decision.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brandon Schaub will have the advantage because he's been more active. I also believe that Schaub will try to be smart, trains with Greg Jackson, probably want to keep it standing. He respects Nogueira's ground game. And I think Nogueira's got some good boxing as well, so maybe it would be a good slugfest on the feet. Who knows? Schaub's got a questionable chin, and Nogueira's coming off the knockout loss to Cain Velasquez. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who's more relevant in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Also, the odds makers do have Nogueira as pretty much about a 2-1 underdog. So it's also something to look at there.
Right. And now on to our next prediction. We have a clash of two former champions, as we have Mauricio Shogun Rua taking on Forrest Griffin in a rematch. Eric, how do you see this going down?
You know, this one's going to be a really interesting fight, I think. You know, it's interesting that the first time they fought around that Forrest was actually a huge underdog. Ended up pulling out the win by third round submission, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's interesting that even in this one, the odds makers actually have, again, Forrest as a 2-1 about an underdog in this one. I think, though, here's the interesting thing. I think Forrest has been healthy, hasn't come off really a lot of big injuries lately. So I think he's just been training up. He's going to look good, coming off a good win against Rich Ace Franklin. So, but on the other hand, Shogun came off a pretty bad loss to the now champion, Johnny Bones Jones, also coming off that knee surgery. So I really think this is going to be Forrest's time to shine. I think he can really take this one, and I see him winning by 3-round decision.
Well, Eric, people always talk about layoffs. People always talk that Rashad Evans had a big 14-month layoff after he fought Rampage, and Forrest Griffin even had a big layoff after he fought Tito Ortiz, came back and fought Rich Franklin after a 14-month layoff, and he did very well. Yeah. People talk about Shogun's injuries and his layoffs, but I think those are just excuses. When you're injured or you're not, you're ready to go or not, you just got to fight when you got to fight, So I think Forrest being the underdog is one thing. I think he's going to pull the upset a second time. I don't know if he's going to finish Shogun. I think he's going to probably win a decision. I see Forrest having the advantage because of his size, probably taking him down. And, Shogun's going to want to keep it standing. I mean, Shogun's got fantastic Muay Thai, and he's got a good ground game, but we never really get to see it.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, very interesting. And now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, on to what you've all been waiting for. The main event prediction. We have Anderson Silva versus Yushin Okami 2. If some of y'all actually did not know. They have actually battled once before. I believe it was at the welterweight, if I'm not mistaken, where Anderson Silva was power owning, if I may, Yushin Okami, until Anderson Silva did throw an illegal up kick and was disqualified in the match, naming Yushin Okami the victor. So, Geoff, we know you're a big Anderson Silva fan. You consider him the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. We also know that you're a big Black House fan as well. So, even though it sounds kind of stupid to me asking, who do you have winning this fight?
Well, Eric, I do agree with you that I think Anderson Silva is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. Mm-hmm. His last loss was, like you said, to Yushin Okami via disqualification at the 170-pound limit in welterweight at the Rumble on the Rock, which was in Hawaii. Yeah. First fight in the U.S. Ever since that loss, though, Anderson Silva's been on a tear. Joining the UFC, crushing Chris Lieben, taking the middleweight belt from Rich Franklin, submitting Travis Lutter, beating Rich Franklin a second time to keep the belt, destroying Nate Marquardt, destroying Dan Henderson, going up to 205, destroying James Irving, going back to fight at 185, defending his title against Patrick Cote, Talis Leites, going back to 205, embarrassing Forrest Griffin, and then going back to 185 to defend his title, beats Damian Maia, goes to war with Chael Sonnen, where he was getting smashed for 4.5 rounds, was able to battle adversity and to find that he's really a champion, and win by submission in the 5th round, and then goes to war with Vitor Belfort and has the greatest knockout of all time that I've ever seen, in my opinion. So I don't see Anderson losing. 13-0 in the UFC, destroying everyone he's gone against, going up and down in weight. There's no way Okami's winning this fight. I'm sorry. He's lost to Rich Franklin. He's lost to Chael Sonnen. Yushin Okami's not that great. They're just running out of people to give Anderson because Anderson's the best. What do you think's going to happen?
You know, I mean, the odds makers do have Anderson Silva as pretty much a 4-1 favorite in this, and rightly so. I mean, honestly, I thought Yushin Okami's last performance against Nate Marquardt was very lackluster. Like you said, in a way, I think they're just running out of opponents for him in a way. I think a lot of people really want to see Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva too. I know I really do. But, Yushin Okami is next up, so he's getting the shot, and I think that Anderson Silva is going to take him out. I can really see it happening in first, maybe second round TKO.
Yeah, I agree. Second round knockout by Anderson the Spider Silva, retaining his middleweight title and staying the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. And that's it for our prediction, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace!